You've likely watched Ben Bigger guides or some of my DPS Ben videos and felt inspired to build them too. I'm here to inform you how to turn your Ben Bigger into a Hypercarry. As you know, disk drives determine how you play a character. The best disk drive set for DPS Ben are 4-piece Woodpecker Electro or Inferno Metal. The first set I recommend is Inferno Metal, with either 2-piece Soul Rock or Woodpecker. This is a good set to start with if you have less than 50% crit rate in combat, since it provides a massive 28% crit while active. The main concern is with keeping the set bonus activated. Having 100% uptime requires proccing burn every 18 seconds, since burn normally lasts 10 seconds and the set buff lasts 8 seconds. This is generally more difficult on bosses, and every second after the buff runs out is a major DPS loss. Some ways to prevent this are to use Peacekeeper, which increases anomaly buildup rate, equip Rocket Boot or Cry Boo, or use another fire character with good burn application such as Bernice or Lighter. The next set is 4-piece Woodpecker Electro with Inferno Metal. It is easy to collect and maintain 2 stacks on demand, making it suitable for increasing DPS consistently. Inferno Metal 2-piece is preferred over Soul Rock because the fire damage bonus is multiplicative, and Ben does mostly fire damage. Hormonplunk 4-piece also provides combat attack, but it's difficult to keep track of the cooldown or have it ready when you want it, unlike Woodpecker, which is more dynamic yet reliable. Combat attack becomes much more potent when supported with a high crit value. Crit value is calculated by adding twice your crit rate to your crit damage. I recommend having at least 240% total crit value in combat, which is when Woodpecker starts to pull ahead of Inferno Metal. Once you've chosen your disk drive set, you will need a suitable W engine to pair with it. Choosing the best engine depends on your character stats and disk drive set. After comparing many builds to answer comments, this is how I would rank the top 5 engines based on their overall damage potential. Remember, you will not gain the bonus effect if the weapon type does not match. Starting from the bottom, Peacekeeper is ideal if you use Inferno Metal and need higher burn uptime. The energy regen isn't noteworthy since you only get 30 energy every 75 seconds from it. In the best case scenario, you'll gain that extra bit of energy you needed to EX special. Brimstone is next because it'll give more base attack, which is effective for Woodpecker builds. It performs better than Big Cylinder specifically during stun periods, because not only is the damage difference expanded upon by the stun multiplier, but you also cannot proc Big Cylinder with no enemies attacking. Otherwise, you would need to on-field Ben a lot more than necessary to make it worthwhile. Big Cylinder is next in line, which most people have and it's highly recommended. The guaranteed crit with additional damage is good burst damage, but its mileage depends on how well you proc it off cooldown. This engine is generally preferred if you use a lot of defensive assists and don't stick to Ben for too long. The next 2 engines, Right Suppressor and Steel Cushion, are the strongest with a proper build because they significantly increase the crit multiplier, which affects damage similarly to a stun damage multiplier. Technically, the Right Suppressor is the best because it has a higher base attack, being a limited engine, but it's locked to a specific banner, unlike Steel Cushion, which is also available in the shop. You can use either crit engine and choose the slot 4 disc main stat opposite of the engine, assuming you don't sacrifice good substats. When calculating damage output, I replace crit damage with crit multiplier. Instead of multiplying damage based on always landing a crit, the crit damage is adjusted to accommodate your chance to crit, better representing average DPS. You should aim for a 1-to-2 crit rate to crit damage ratio, including buffs in combat. But you can prioritize crit rate more if you have below 50%, or crit damage if you use Big Cylinder. For disk drive main stats, you'll use crit rate or crit damage in slot 4, fire damage in slot 5, and defense or attack in slot 6. The best substats to roll are crit rate, crit damage, defense percent, and attack percent. If you are choosing between 2 discs for the same slot, pick the one with better substats or whichever improves your crit ratio. Next is Ben's skill upgrade priority. This is the upgrade order I would recommend for Hypercarry Ben. EX Special is first because Ben relies on this ability the most across any playstyle, especially if you use Big Cylinder. It also has a follow-up attack, making it an efficient upgrade compared to other skills. The non-EX block counter is better than the dodge counter if you can proc Big Cylinder, or if the dodge is under-leveled. Otherwise, the dodge counter is more valuable for fire anomaly and a stack of Woodpecker. Next is auto attack, which is filler until you've built enough energy for an EX special. You will normally animation cancel his auto attacks, but it is important for the stun phases, so he doesn't hit like a wet noodle when he's blown his load. The ultimate is next, because it has a massive skill damage multiplier and is used during stun periods to bonk enemies. The assist skill is less important than the first 3, but it's still valuable for building up days and decibels. Defensive assists are also valuable if your skills are underleveled, since Ben will trade on-field time for stunning quicker. Dodge counter is the last priority, but when leveled up, it can replace auto attacks in most cases. If you're limited on resources, level everything up to 7 first, and then follow the skill priority up to level 9. The additional levels from Mindscapes makes this much more affordable. Now, let's talk about how to play Ben as Hypercarry. Most EU defense fights will start with a group of smaller enemies. You will want to group them with someone like Caesar or Nicole, and then attack with Ben until they are cleared. I recommend holding Ben's energy until the enemy attacks to get the enhanced EX follow-up. There are many ways to optimize Hypercarry Ben, but I'll start by teaching what I'd like to call the Ben Shuffle, before suggesting speedrun tricks. The Ben Shuffle begins once you've applied buffs and debuffs to the enemy. You can do this by utilizing defensive assists for Portapunk, or by quick swapping to rotate support CX specials. With Ben back on field, you'll have 10 to 15 seconds before the buff runs out. During this time, keep auto attacking and use dodge counters until you can use an EX special instead of a dodge counter. Then, you'll reapply buffs and debuffs, repeating the cycle until the daze meter is almost full. To prepare for the stun, you should build up and reserve Ben's energy for at least one EX special. When ready, use a defensive assist for Portapunk, or a high daze ability to start the chain attack sequence. The chain attack sequence when fighting bosses should go as follows. Ben should go first because his chain attack animation propels him far backward, creating a gap too large to auto attack or EX special unless you cancel a knockback animation with a well-timed dodge. By ending the chain attacks with Ben's quick assist, he will remain stationary for the next attack sequence. After the chain attacks, if you use Woodpecker, auto attack until you land a crit, EX special, and then use his ultimate. This strategy quickly gains 2 stacks before launching Ben's ultimate for the highest damage potential. Otherwise, you would ult immediately, which marks the end of the Ben Shuffle. You start over from the beginning by quickly reapplying buffs and debuffs and continue fighting until the enemy is defeated. Now you know how to do the Ben Shuffle. There are many ways to adapt or optimize the Ben Shuffle. Here are some tips and tricks. Ben's third auto attack animation is long, but you can quick swap or defensive assist once he starts the animation. The same applies to Lucy's EX special. Alternatively, you can perform a perfect counter just before he lands. Defensive assists provide some of the best days and decibels, so if you have your ultimate ready early, consider spamming defensive assists into Ben or a stunner. This is also useful for quicker burn applications. After Ben's ultimate, you can swap between Lucy's Flyball and Ben's quick assist repeatedly for strong burst damage. With Woodpecker, use a dodge counter before an EX special for better damage if the crit buff is still active. To save energy, only use Ben's EX special follow-up attack if you need to refresh the crit buff or during stun phases. The more experience you gain with Hypercarry Ben, the more you will intuitively apply these and many more. Let's discuss teams for Hypercarry Ben. The best Hypercarry team as of this video's release includes Caesar and Lucy with Portapunk and Swing Jazz respectively. You will want to defensive assist with Caesar and end attack sequences with Lucy's EX special / chain attack, so Ben can quick assist and close large gaps. The next best team is Ben with Nicole and Lucy using the same sets. The main difference is shorter cycles and less days application. Whoever you decide to use outside of these two teams is at your discretion, especially with new characters like Bernice and Lighter. I suspect the new best Ben team will be with Caesar and Lighter, because they will daze enemies quickly and amplify damage in various ways. That's all I have for now. Go forth, Ben mains. Keep practicing issue defense and you'll get better in no time.